Hello and welcome to my alternate guitar tuning video. So we're going to start with standard tuning, which is DADGBD. There's a reason standard tuning is used most often. It's very flexible. You can play lots of different chord shapes up and down the fretboard quite easily, and it's also good for scales. So one of the first alternate tunings I was taught was drop D. So that's DADGBD. So almost exactly the same as the standard tuning, but just a D note on the 6th string. So one way I was taught to tune down from the standard tuning was to take the 6th string, which is the low E in standard tuning, and then play the 4th string, which is the D note, and then tune it down to the same note. So one of the best things about drop D is that it makes power chords more easy to play. So a power chord is the root note and the 5th of that note. So for example, on the 3rd fret, you would have a F note, C note, and another F if you played the top 3 strings. So drop D is often used on electric guitar in a lot of heavier, distorted music. Drop D also works well for fingerstyle playing, so you've got the drone on the lower strings, and then you've still got the high notes on the higher strings. So another great thing about drop D is the resonant chords you can make using the open D string. So lots of bands have used drop D over the years, from the Beatles to Led Zeppelin. So this particular chord, Nirvana and Foo Fighters have used it in a couple of songs. So this kind of chord was used in All Apologies by Nirvana. And Everlong by the Foo Fighters also uses similar chords. So you're making a chord on the A and D strings and leaving the D open. So the tuning of DADGAD is probably most widely known for its use by Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. It was first widely used in the 1960s in Celtic and folk music, and then made more famous by Led Zeppelin with songs like Kashmir. So for this tuning, from the drop D tuning, so you've already got the low D, we're going to tune the B string, the 2nd string, to a A note. So I'm going to play the low A note and tune it to that. Then you also need to tune the high E string down to a D as well. So an example is Jimmy Page playing Kashmir, which uses similar chords to this. It's also great for finger picking, so using the drone of the lower notes and the higher notes as well. So just have a play around and see what you can create. And it has that kind of timeless feel, kind of Lord of the Rings vibes. So as I've said, playing all the strings open creates a nice chord of the D sus4. And you can make movable chord shapes quite easily as well. For example, if you keep everything else open but put your finger on the 2nd fret of the G string and then the 4th fret of the D string, you create a D chord. And then slide that. If you take your finger on the D string, 1 fret back, you'll create a D minor chord. So another song that uses DADGAD is Stephen Still's Treetop Flyer, and that sounds a bit like. Because of that unresolved quality to the open chord of D sus4, it's quite easy to create kind of wistful chord progressions. So I'm using chords from Radiohead's Weird Fishes to create a kind of. So this next alternate tuning is DAD F BE, which is a D6/9 chord, which means there's a D with an added 6th and 9th notes, and it sounds like this. So DAD F BE. So there's a kind of bittersweet sound to the open note. You can get here quite easily from drop D by just tuning the G string down to F sharp. You can do that by finding the note F sharp on the D string. So this tuning's not been massively used compared to tunings like drop D, but there are quite a few famous songs that have used it, such as Jose Gonzalez Heartbeats. So it uses a chord similar to this. King Cruel's Out Getting Ribs also uses this tuning, which has got phrases kind of like. The song The Giantess by Bombay Bicycle Club is also a song which uses this tuning. So you've got something like. So this tuning is DGDGBD. So this tuning, when it's open, makes a G major chord. So from the standard tuning, you'll tune the low E to a D on the 6th string. And then you'll need G here, and then keep the D as per standard tuning. And then this will also be a G. And then this will remain a B. You'll have to tune the high E string down to a D as well. So the tuning became famous through blues music, and also notably used by Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. For the authentic Keith Richards tuning though, you need to take away the low E string, as that's what he did, and kept the same open G tuning, but with the low E string removed. So you can get that kind of sound from, say, barring all the strings apart from the 6th string, and then playing some hammer-ons. It was also used by the Dandy Warhols on their hit song Bohemian Like You, which some kind of phrase like. Because the open tuning is a G major chord, if you fret all the strings on the same fret, then you can slide it up and down. So this is DAD F AD tuning. So DAD F AD. Okay, so from DADGAD, you just need to tune down the 3rd string. So I found F sharp on the 4th string. So Joni Mitchell famously used this tuning on her song Big Yellow Taxi, and it uses some chords kind of like this. So this tuning creates an open D chord, which makes it quite easy for sort of jamming. So this is open C, so we've got C, G, C, G, C, E. So from standard tuning, the 6th string will go all the way down to a C, and then you'll have a G here, which is down from the A, and then the same note C on the 4th string will go from a D to a C. The G will stay the same, and then you tune up the B string to a C, and then the high E stays the same. Again, it makes a C major chord, so you can slide either partially fretted or all of the strings on a fret. The tuning was also used by John Butler in his song Ocean. I believe he used a 12 string for the recording. So listen to that song. I've made some kind of similar motifs, simplified. So this tuning has been used by quite a few different bands and artists. One of them is Soundgarden in a few songs, such as Burden in My Hand. They use similar chords to this. So I hope you'll give all these tunings a try and get creative with them. And thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next vid.